Hello and welcome to Gutted. I'm Aleece.
And I'm Tony, and we're here to spill our guts about horror films.
Yup.
How do you gut someone? Always trust my gut.
We are the Gutted Horror Podcast. If you have listened to our podcast up to 100 episodes, maybe you came in at episode 75. Maybe you're a diehard and started at episode 1 when we were very timid.
I know.
Didn't really edit.
Really thank you to anyone who has watched more than one episode. If you have watched from the beginning or listened from the beginning, please find a way to just give us a little, I don't know, some sort of emoji to let us know. One of those 100 emojis somewhere. Or if you've watched, I don't know, 2, give us a 2.
Like the peace sign.
Like a peace sign too. Some sort of code that lets us know that you've been a repeat listener / watcher. Because we really appreciate you guys. And it's hard to know who's out there because it's kind of like an anonymous platform. It is our 100th episode. And I thought, whoa, 100? That's crazy. That's a lot of episodes.
That's a lot of episodes.
To me.
It took us 4 years to get here.
I know a lot of podcasts that film more consistently than we do that have been doing it for 4 years. They have hundreds, plural hundreds.
That's a lot. That is a commitment because the amount of work it takes to produce and to then make content for a podcast is a lot more than I initially imagined.
Yeah.
All of the editing, the filming, the setup,
the preparation,
the research
the
that I never do.
I do research. I feel like we do a fair amount of research for a low-level indie podcast.
Yeah.
Considering we're just a team of 2 and 3 cats that are constantly thwarting us. So it's negative contribution.
Yes, we at least read IMDb tidbits, and when possible, we will watch the bonus features on a DVD, sometimes the commentary.
We do have quite a bit of physical media. So when we end up watching a movie that we own, then we will watch as many of the special features that we can. So yeah, it's a fair amount of research.
I'm not writing dissertations on horror at the moment.
Yeah, we're not in film. We never were in film school. We took a film course probably once in our lives, but we have opinions and we do our best. Anyway, what percentage of podcasts make it past episode 12?
According to Google, around 90% of podcasts don't make it past the 3rd episode. Around 90% of those podcasts don't make it past the 20th episode. Podcasts that exist past the 20th are in the top 1% of podcasts globally that have ever existed.
So the fact that we have made it past the 3rd episode, according to this Google tidbit that I found, I was like, cool. Of those 10% that make it past the 3rd episode, 90% of those don't make it past the 20th episode. I'm like, we did it.
You have to love doing it. You have to love the genre. And you have to know that even if you are speaking to an empty internet, you still want to do it.
We made it past 3. We got to 100.
Cheers.
100 and 100 more. What percentage makes it to 200? Google? No one knows.
What are we going to talk about in today's episode? We don't have a specific movie to talk about or a list, or we're not going to make predictions about anything. We are merely going to be looking back at our podcast and noting how things have changed, talking about people we have met along the way. We're going to do a fun little Q&A section. And yeah, we might also revise our top horror movies from episode 1. We talked about our top 10 horror movies.
Yeah, we might give our top 5. We won't make it as long as our first episode. We did watch our first episode today and we're like, oof. But it's good to have that on there and see how we've changed or perhaps progressed. But that was, yes, a long-winded episode on our top 10. So I think we're going to try to revise our top 5 because as horror lovers, we're ever evolving. And
that's right. Things are changing.
Things are always changing and people can change their minds and evolve. And that's cool. So, but first of all,
or will they? I don't
will
know.
they?
Find out later. If we look back to that first episode, yes, we had high dreams and we had a set.
we tried. We had a vision and we had a really good backdrop. We did have a comment in the very beginning of when we first started because we had like a wood backdrop that Tony built by hand with dirty slats and he hammered and nailed them together. We put a TV behind it with an eyeball.
We had a spare room. We had a spare podcast room. We
Yeah.
lived in another state. We lived in Idaho at the time.
Yeah, we were in a state where we had more room. And that was cool because we had a spare room that was kind of tiny, but we're like, what do we do with this tiny little room? Turn it into a podcast room.
Well, now we're filming in our living room and we have all of our DVDs back here and some things we've collected along the way.
Yeah.
We have unfortunately had to forego the original set, although I do miss it.
It was nice having a separate room for the podcast because we didn't have to like tear stuff down every single day. My podcast goal for the future going forward is to try to find a space that's better and more dedicated to the podcast.
Right. And that will happen very soon.
Yeah.
One of the nice things about being in the podcast community online is that you get to meet other podcasters and other horror podcasters. And that's probably been the best part of this whole experience is meeting these other people who are doing the same thing. They have the same love for this genre that we have. And we've gotten to meet people, be guests on their shows, listen to their podcasts, learn from them, all kinds of stuff. We definitely wanted to shout out a few.
Yeah, there are a few that we have been in contact with and listened to since we've started. One of them is Manic Movie Monday.
They are super knowledgeable about horror movies and have a really great take on many of the movies. And they don't only cover horror movies, they also cover some sort of like 80s cult films.
Yeah. Erin of Manic Movie Monday was the first podcaster to reach out to us. We went on her show and we chatted about, was the first one Prom Night 2?
Yes, Prom Night 2.
Hello, Mary Lou. Good movie. And that was a fun conversation with Erin.
It's a great podcast. We love it a lot.
Check them out.
Next up, we want to shout out Cradle to the Grave podcast with Eric Hansen, who has been probably one of our most frequent collaborators podcast-wise. We've been guests on his show multiple times.
6 times now.
We've recently had him as a guest on our show in a top 10 desert island vampire showdown episode. That was just a couple episodes ago, so you can check that episode out as well. We talk all things vampires.
He is a vampire encyclopedia. He knows all things vampire movies.
He has a lot of different guests, not only from the horror community, but also musicians and writers, comic book artists, all kinds of different people on the show.
It's a good show. So yeah, give Cradle to the Grave a listen. And then another one that we've been listening to is Look Good for the Boys. They are a horror gossip podcast. They are very diplomatic when they talk about movies, but they do have interesting scenarios about characters of movies. They're not gossiping about the actual actors, they're gossiping about the characters. And so it's very fun. They're a podcast that we've reached out to every so often to get recommendations for films. They once recommended that we review the trailer for Nightmare Beach. And that trailer is nuts. Yeah. Give Look Good for the Boys a listen. They're so much fun. I love their banter, their dynamic. And then one more podcast that we've not had the pleasure of meeting this person, but hey, one day, who knows?
We did. We attended a little workshop, a webinar workshop on podcasting with the podcast that a lot of you may know if you listen to horror podcasts. It's one of the biggest horror podcasts out there. It is called The Evolution of Horror with Mike Munzer.
Yeah.
He looks at horror movies genre by genre and exhaustively looks at the history of each genre. So whether that be aliens or zombies, I think his latest season was Nature Strikes Back. Tons of guests who are film critics, who are movie buffs, who are people in the film industry. He did recently a really great interview with Danny Boyle and Alex Garland in a 28 Days Later episode, just sort of like a special one-off episode. A lot of great stuff. I am constantly listening to Evolution of Horror. It is sort of like the benchmark of horror podcasting, I would say. Not that we want to emulate that style, but it's definitely
quite intimidating.
Something that I listened to a lot when we first started our podcast, and I've really enjoyed listening to it.
Yeah. So those 4 podcasts, I would say, are the ones that we've listened to in heavy rotation since we've started.
Yes.
I admit I was not a podcast listener when we started podcasting.
Well, you were saying that you didn't want to be influenced by other podcasters, and you didn't want to emulate their style. You didn't want to copy them. You wanted to do something original, which I understand the sentiment. Yeah, because
in the beginning, I avidly did not listen to other podcasts because I was like nervous that I would like make me second guess myself. But I've since gone over that, and I do listen to these 4 podcasts.
Yeah, because it is a lot of fun to see what other people are talking about, and our horror community has been expanding, and there have been a lot of new podcasts that we have recently discovered, and new horror content creators and people in the online community who we have done projects with, or done all kinds of fun stuff with, who we also wanted to shout out.
Yeah. So we've had the pleasure of being on a podcast game show called Bloody Good Time. It was a bloody good time. And Tony actually won the first time that we were on.
I have no idea how that happened.
Yeah. I think I got second. And then the next time we went on, I got second again.
And then we were just dominated by the host,
Chad Zuber, because he was playing that second round. And he is so knowledgeable. And there was no way there was Chad and then the 3 of us. There was another guest, and we were trailing him by so many points.
Yeah.
And there was no way. And so when I got second place in that round, I was like, okay, there was no way I was going to beat Chad. So I was really happy with my second.
But it's a really fun live, especially if you like trivia, if you like horror trivia, check it out. They're on YouTube. You can check out our episodes. We've been on 2.
And we have one coming up that we're going to be on where we are going to compete as a team against other podcast teams.
Yeah. So Battle of the Podcasts.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
And then one other podcaster we wanted to shout out that we met through a mutual friend at a horror convention, Katie Afraidy.
Katie is a part of the Fangoria podcast network. She is a comedian and a horror fan, horror lover, just an all-around funny and good person.
Very good, very kind and knowledgeable person.
And we bumped into one of Aleece's friends at a horror convention, and he knew Katie, and we kind of knew Katie from social media. So we're like, we know you. You're like, on social media.
We know you, but we don't know you.
Yeah. So we like hung out at the convention. We had a great time walking around and, going to all the vendors, all the booths and stuff. And every once in a while now we kind of like bump into her or like the 2 of them at like other horror events. And we always just, hang out, and it's always a good time.
It's always a good impromptu time.
Check out her show. She's all over social media. So you can find her, Katie Afraidy.
And then last but not least, we want to shout out Horror of Sweden and Horror Community News. We've been in contact with him through social media, I think, since we've started. He's a horror poet.
He's one of the first people who reached out to us in social media.
He is. And he started this thread called Horror Community News, where he will take whatever you are working on and he will promote it for you and help you out. He also writes poetry. So give him a look on social media. I know he's on Instagram as Horror of Sweden.
And we thank him very much for always promoting us, always supporting us, and always being encouraging to our content and our channel. Okay, so moving on, we want to get into sort of like the podcast a little bit more.
Yeah.
So Aleece, what was your most fun episode to shoot and why?
Okay, I would say I had a fun time shooting our episode with our friend Andre on Martyrs.
Yes, that was a great time.
That was fun. We happened to be in a different state at that time for a job that both Tony and Andre were working on. So Andre was Tony's coworker at the time. I was just visiting. I wasn't working, but I was staying at the same hotel that everybody was staying at. And so we had just started the podcast at this time. And Andre was like, I want to be on your podcast. And I was like, sure. And we were all nervous because we didn't really know what to do. do.
He was our first guest on the show.
Yeah.
We have kind of not really had a lot of guests on our show because we haven't really
figured it out.
And not that there's like that much to figure out.
But Andre was going to be there in person. And we thought, okay, well, we'll share a mic and then Andre can have the other mic. Also, full disclosure, I'm just a very anxious person. So if I start thinking about something that's like unknown, I start thinking of all these different scenarios that can go wrong. It makes me less inclined to do something that's unpredictable because I'm like, I don't know what the end result's going to be. And I think Andre is kind of the same. So when we got together that night for podcasting, we had a couple like icebreaker beverages.
We had a lot of beverages.
We had a few icebreaker beverages. And the format that we did was a guess the ending episode of Martyrs because none of us had seen it. And we watched half of it and we reviewed it and then recorded it on the podcast. We made our predictions and then we maybe had another beverage and then watched the rest of the movie.
Several beverages.
Whatever. And we were so tired by the end of the movie that we weren't like in the right mindset to keep filming, but we're like, we have to, otherwise we're never going to finish this episode and it'll go to waste. So we forced Andre to get back behind the microphone. And he's just like, I could tell he's just like, I just want to go to bed. And I think it was pretty late by this point. We made him suffer and it was funny and fun. And I don't know how funny the episode is or fun the episode is, but we had a good time.
Oh, that was a fun episode for sure. I enjoyed that episode. I don't know if the episode was necessarily a great episode, but it was a lot of fun to film.
But it made me think like, oh, it would be so great if we could get actual guests in person. I would really love to have other guests in person. We had like a little space where we could actually designate it to having the podcast set up and invite other, podcasters or friends or horror community people over and have an in-person podcast. But we can still make do with like Zoom sessions, whatever.
And speaking of Zoom, speaking of fun episodes to shoot, we did recently shoot a top 10 desert island vampire showdown. And that was a lot of fun to shoot as well with Eric from Cradle to the Grave. That wasn't our second guest because we've also done an indie spotlight where we had these two wonderful guests, the writer Zoe Wasserman from Vampire, and then we had
Gregory Cahill and Adam Metropolis from The Nexus.
From The Nexus, and we had a great conversation with both of them, and that was a really fun episode as well. And I love doing those episodes because it's supporting indie filmmakers, which is great. We'd actually met Greg and Adam from The Nexus. They invited us to a screening of their film.
Yeah,
we loved The Nexus. We thought it was really cool.
It's this collection of absurd horror vignettes, so it's an anthology film, but it was really good. I have a question for you now.
All right.
Even though it's a list and you can see it.
No, I can't. What are you talking about?
What do you feel like was our most successful episode?
Ooh, okay. So if you're just defining success by like the most number of views on YouTube, it was our pre-gut trailer review of Longlegs. I think has our highest view count on YouTube.
It does.
And I think our most listened to episode on the audio platforms is our prom night versus prom night episode, the gut to gut format, which we rarely do. And it would be cool if we do some more of those. But those ended up being a lot of work.
They are a lot of work because you are reviewing essentially 2 movies in one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've only done that twice. We've done that with Prom Night versus Prom Night, and we did that with Dawn of the Dead versus Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. And I think those were both successful episodes. So maybe that goes to show that you sometimes have to put in the work.
Yeah.
For the success.
Even if like maybe we skip a week and...
Anyways, what about you?
I was thinking our most successful episode was Burnt Offerings. And I think
that's true.
I kind of defined success as which ones do we still get comments about on YouTube. And that community interaction is always what I'm looking for. And so since we still get comments on YouTube about our episode on burnt offerings, and I didn't expect it, it was one of our Guess the Ending episodes, and I had heard about it through a featurette from my Scream DVD, 1996 Scream DVD. There was a crew member on that set that mentioned that the movie that scared her the most as a kid was Burnt Offerings. And I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to do it as a Guess the Ending episode. And we did it and we loved it. But that is, I think, a lot of people's first scary movie.
Well, doesn't it predate The Shining? And it has this very Shining-esque feel to it, where it's like a family kind of descending into madness.
Yeah.
And just some like really creepy scenes.
It does have some really
So
scary
it was a
scenes.
great movie. I had never heard of it, and I'm very glad that I have now seen it and have reviewed it.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. What is your least favorite episode that we have filmed?
Okay.
And why?
I mean, aside from like our first episode that I listened to today, and I was like, oh, that's weird. That was an awkward episode.
We were just getting started, though.
Yeah, I feel like the first episode was a bit awkward to listen to, but we leave it there because it's nice to kind of like see where we've like gone. So I don't really like the first episode. Our Chucky episode was our third episode, and like we had a major technical malfunction or like major technical difficulty where we just like lost the recorded audio.
We didn't lose it. I forgot to press the button that records.
So, okay, whatever. We didn't have recorded audio for the last third of the show. So we're just listening to whatever the camera picked up. And it sounds so garbled and so underwater. But we left it because we're just like, whatever.
And the thing that's disappointing about that was it was a good episode.
We that was like the first time that we felt like we had done an episode right, except for hitting record. So that sucked. So moving past our podcasting errors, what would you say is your podcast highlight of the year? Not just like with podcasting, but like maybe like anything in the horror world. Like what's been like your highlight for the year?
The highlight is honestly probably reaching 100 episodes.
That's pretty crazy.
There are a ton of people starting podcasts during the COVID era. And I don't think a lot of those podcasts still are still around. And ours is, even though we've taken like some hiatuses along the way, which is why we were only at 100 episodes after 4 years. It's still a pretty big feat to reach 100 episodes and to persist despite, having day jobs and having to, all the extra life events that happen, and still producing and filming and still having fun, reviewing movies and kind of finding our voice, which I feel like we're still doing.
We're working on it. It's an evolution of podcasting. But I would say, like the persistence is key because we've definitely ebbed and flowed. And I feel like because we've had to start and stop so many times just because of life events. We had so much success with our prom night episode, and we had to stop right after that, which was a bummer because that one like skyrocketed over the listening platforms. And then we had to stop for several months after that.
Yeah. And because I took a job in another state. So we essentially relocated, and you didn't join me until like months later.
Yeah.
So we were like, how do we do this? Do we do it over Zoom now?
We just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so we didn't do it for like 2 months. And unfortunately, like all the success that we made with the prom night episode, it was all gone because the next episode we did after that, I think it was like, we've reviewed the trailer for Fall. So like any listeners that we had gained had kind of fallen away. And I don't know if they were reinstated with our review of Fall. Even though
I like that episode.
I thought the episode was fun. It was like short and to the point.
Yeah,
and
that was
the
great.
movie
I was
actually
blaming the welder for everything.
You blamed the welder.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed the movie. Anyway, not the point. So to have actually like come back from all those ebbs and flows and still get to 100 episodes, I would say it is like quite an accomplishment. So good job, us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, good job to us.
Aside from that, I would say for this year, I love getting comments from listeners and feedback from listeners. That's one thing that like gives me that little dopamine hit. I'm like, oh yes, someone listened and they have a question about it. I want to answer. So that's exciting to me. As far as like workload on the podcast, if you leave a comment, it's most likely me that's responding to you. If you're curious about
Actually, that's the fun thing about having this, social media, any social media presence, Gutted Horror Podcast. If you are emailing us or if you are messaging us on Instagram or YouTube, you're not sure if you're talking to Aleece or if you're talking to me. And you said most of the time it's Aleece, but sometimes it's me.
Yeah.
Usually it's Aleece. If
you get a long-winded answer, it's probably me. If you get something that's like short and to the point, it's probably Tony. Exactly. So that's kind of the gauge of that.
A couple more questions before we move on to our next segment. We cover a lot of new movies and trailers, but we also cover some older movies. Mm-hmm. And I want to know what has been your favorite older movie, and not meaning that it's like old, like Nosferatu or something like that, but something that's just, it's come out maybe more than 10 years ago or whatever.
Something that came out before the podcast started.
Yeah. What's your favorite older movie that you've discovered since we've started the podcast?
You're Next.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a fairly recent episode of ours. It was one of our Guess the Endings, and I had been saving that one for a long time. I think that's probably my favorite Guess the Ending. That was so fun. I loved it. I love You're Next. I love slashers. And so it makes sense that I loved You're Next.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
The Burning?
Okay, yeah.
But I would say Burnt Offerings too. Like both those were really good movies. Cherry Falls, that was really good.
That was good.
Lots of movies.
Dr. Giggles. Honestly, I would say all the Guess the Ending movies I've really enjoyed so far.
Yeah, they've all been
If you had to like axe one of the Guess the Ending movies, what would it be?
None of them.
None. They're all gold.
Yeah, those are all
They all
great.
Deserved a spot on our list.
They did.
Guess the Endings. Cool. Good answer. I hear this question a lot on people's like anniversary shows. Tell me your top 2 favorite subgenres.
Everybody knows, if you listen to this podcast, that my favorite horror genre is a zombie apocalyptic film. I have always been drawn to films that depict the end of the world. Mm-hmm. It is one of the fears that I had as a kid and something that I've been drawn to. And I think a little bit of it comes from that sort of talk about like the world's going to end in the year 2000. That sort of Nostradamus predicted the end of the world. For some reason, that really scared me when I was a kid. So I've always thought that the zombie genre was one of the most doomed genre. The survivors never make it. They only temporarily flee. Even when the zombies, like in The Walking Dead, are no longer the thing to be feared, there is still just a hard time to get by. Like nothing good ever happens.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point? Just lay down and die.
So I like that genre. I also like the intensity of like the start of the outbreak.
I would say that's my favorite part about zombie movies is the murmurs and like the start of the outbreak. If it starts with the outbreak already having happened, then I'm kind of bummed. If I'm watching a zombie movie or an infected movie, I want to see the outbreak happen.
For my second genre, I would say it is all of the above, everything else.
Everything else? Cool.
I mean, I know that's a horrible answer, but I don't know if I have a favorite genre.
You can just have a favorite. So your favorite is zombie.
Yeah, I have one favorite, and everything else is second place.
All right, cool. Interesting.
That's a horrible answer, but how about you? I feel like you have something more specific. Well, and I know what they are. Can I guess them?
Yeah.
Okay, your number 1 favorite genre is the slasher genre. And your number 2 favorite genre is a creature feature.
Yeah, but like not like a made up creature feature, like real creatures.
Like Jaws.
Yeah.
Like sharks.
Yes.
Yeah, or dinosaurs.
Yeah, if it's like a made up creature, like a Sharknado, I mean, even though a shark is real, but a shark in a tornado is not real.
What about Birdemic?
Birds are real. If it's
birds are real.
Yeah, birds are real. I'm talking about something like Ghoulies and Critters. Although I love those movies, the made up or like weird little alien creature is not my go-to subgenre. Kind of just like I'm not into aliens. I'm not saying I don't like alien movies. There are the few that I do enjoy, like Aliens, The Thing, and Critters. Yeah, cute. But I like the slasher and I like the based in reality creature feature. Maybe there's some sort of like hyper angry dog that's trying to get you, like Cujo. Cujo has rabies and gonna get you.
Yeah, I like Cujo.
Yeah. So I like those movies because those are what's scary to me. I'm not afraid of a critter. Critter's never going to get me. I'm not afraid of some made up, infected with toxic sludge thing. Those aren't going to get me. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of ghosts.
Ghosts are scary.
Ghosts can be scary, but I've never seen one. I've never encountered a ghost. I've never had a like spiritual or like ghostly moment.
Should we go walk into the bathroom, turn off the lights, and say Candyman 5 times?
I will never do that.
So you are scared.
I have common sense. It's like, why play with fire? Even though I've never had like ghostly encounter, I'm not going to go like play with Candyman in the bathroom. And I will say Candyman is very powerful. That's like the one-off, you know, like that's like one of those like ghostly.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't have a genre, because there's these movies in every genre that I really like.
There are
Candyman
movies in every genre that I really like, but there are more movies in the subgenres that are based in reality that scare me than the ghost movie. Like Candyman was very influential, and I still will not go into the bathroom and turn out the lights for a long period of time till this day. That's like the one environment where I need the lights to be on or a light to be on. I am afraid of like demons to an extent. I'm not going to mess with demons because why? What's the point? But also in movies that involve demons or Satan, I've said this before, they're not my go-to genre because you can't defeat a demon. You can only keep them at bay or try to like flee or try to put it into a different host.
That's sort of like the zombie genre. You can't defeat the horde.
What's the point? Like, how are you going to survive a zombie apocalypse? Like, why?
Go hang out on a beach.
Hang out
until
on
you
the
starve
beach.
or die of an infection because you cut your thumb.
Yeah, I think that's the most you can hope for in a zombie apocalypse is like try to find a place where you can like live comfortably enough until you can die.
But you're not trying to like restart civilization or
Definitely
like
not. Like when I see these movies where it's like 3 people left, one's a female, I'm just like, ew.
Yeah, that's pretty bleak. That's the word I was looking for. Damn it.
Super bleak. Like, I don't want to be the lone female with 2 dudes in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to try. Like,
and that's why it's terrifying. When done well, because there are a lot of trash zombie movies out there that I do not endorse.
Will not endorse those films on this podcast.
Absolute trash.
But still fun sometimes. Are there any movies that you want to save for a Guess the Ending episode?
Anything that we own that we haven't watched would be a great Guess the Ending episode. And we do own a lot of DVDs.
Yeah.
And some we are saving for Guess the Endings. But I really just want to watch them. So if it takes a Guess the Ending episode to watch them, then let's do it. This actually segues into the next question of podcast goals moving forward. One of our goals is to take the Guess the Ending format of episode and do it as like an interactive live event. And we may be doing that in September. With Spooky Baby Events.
Yeah. We kind of pitched the idea to Spooky Baby Events, and April, who runs Spooky Baby Events, she's like, I'm into it. Let's do it. And we haven't quite figured out like what we're going to do or how we're going to do this.
Yeah. So literally any horror movie I haven't seen is what I want to do for a Guess the Ending. So I don't want to save anything. I just want to choose one that I haven't seen and I would guess the ending of that.
All right.
How about you? Is there one specifically that you're saving?
The Car.
The Car.
I really want to watch The Car, so I've been saving that one. Also, I'm like afraid to say this. And for some reason, I haven't heard about this one for a long time. And now suddenly it's popping up in my feed constantly. Just the poster though. The Loved Ones. I've had that one on my list for a while. And now suddenly I am seeing cosplayers and the poster constantly pop up in my Instagram feed. I'm just like, dang it. I have intentions to watch this for a Guess the Ending episode. So who knows if we'll be able to squeeze it in before it's completely ruined.
Let's move on to our next segment. After 100 episodes, what has been the evolution or the growth of Gutted Horror Podcast? Like what what's going on here? What's its deal?
What's
our deal?
What have we done?
Yeah.
With our
so
lives?
when we first started, we had this set that I had made. One of the jobs that I do is a prop maker and an art director
Carpenter.
mostly for reality TV shows. But there is a horror indie that I have worked on recently that I will hopefully be able to promote once that is closer to being finished. And when we first started the podcast, I was like, I'm going to build this set. So
Yeah.
I did. I just did like a sort of slatted zombie wall thing.
You built it twice.
I did build it twice.
We built it for the place that we lived in Idaho. And then we filmed like, I swear, 3 episodes and then we had to move. And you rebuilt it for 1 episode.
Yeah.
And then we had to immediately dismantle it because he went to another state again.
Oops. And then we just bought a wood backdrop on Amazon that we
Which was
used for
funny
a
because
while.
I was like, let's just buy a cloth wood backdrop. And Tony's like, no, it's going to look so bad. And I was like, let's just buy it. It'll be easy.
I was against it because I had liked what I had built.
Yeah. No, it was
and
nice.
we had a monitor with our third podcast host, Tom,
Okay.
who was an eyeball that was looking around the whole time.
Hold on. Can I like segue to your second wood backdrop? You used really dirty, dusty wood for the second wood backdrop.
I got to make it
And
authentic.
It looked like we were for real in like a bomb out shelter, like a bombed out shelter. And it looked scary. And I had to go on a Zoom chat for work one day and I forgot it was behind me. And I turned on my camera. I didn't see myself. And someone chimed in and they're like, before we start the meeting, Aleece, where are you? And I was like, oh, I just drove home. And I didn't elaborate.
I live in a bombed out shelter.
And these slats were so like jagged and not aligned. And I didn't think to say, oh, my husband built this for like some sort of set piece. I didn't think to say that. I was just like, oh, I'm at home. And she got quiet and no one asked any follow-up questions. And I didn't think to blur my background or anything. It was like early days of Zoom calls from home. Anyway. Yeah, it was embarrassing.
Yeah, that's great. And you can see that burnt out, what do you call it? Dirty bunker.
That was in the prom night episode.
Prom night episode. So if you watched it on YouTube, you can check that out.
Yeah.
I think it was only like our first 3 or 4 episodes that had the original set.
Yeah.
And then we moved to the cloth background. For a lot of those sets, we were living in a hotel because I was on a job in another state, building sets for some reality TV shows. Yeah, living out of a hotel for 2 summers in a row.
Sometimes we still bring the cloth backdrop with us when we travel.
So Tom, we miss you. Hopefully,
we miss Tom.
We'll bring you back one day. Now we have Michael Meowers. Like we said before, this is our living room, and we just put a collection of all of our Halloween stuff that we have. We also got this Be Kind Rewind neon sign that is actually from a Blockbuster bar pop-up that a friend of mine had done the production design for. He knew we had this podcast and he was kind enough to donate the Be Kind Rewind, as well as a very realistic looking Blockbuster VHS case, and everything else we've just sort of just our normal living room decor and our DVDs that we've collected from McKay's bookstore and Rasputin's, 2 of our favorite places to buy physical media.
McKay's and Rasputin's.
Yeah. McKay's is in Tennessee area, but they also have them in North Carolina.
South Carolina.
We've been to like 4 of them. I think there's one in Nashville.
Yeah.
And then Rasputin's is a legendary record store and use DVD, movies, all that sort of stuff.
But also the Boise Record Exchange in Boise.
And the Boise Record Exchange, yes, because we did live in Boise for a little while. The set may change again soon.
Because I'm tired of having this in our living room. Yeah.
So we're still evolving.
We have podcast goals to make a more permanent space. Also, another way that we've changed is the edits. I noticed in our first episode, we had like 3 edits maybe. And I think that's because our timer ran out on our video camera that we were using initially.
Right. We used to use a little point and shoot camera and it would only shoot
like 20 minutes at a time.
Yeah. So we had to set a timer. And then this is how we ended up losing audio for the Child's Play episode because when we stopped and had to restart the camera, then I forgot to press record on our audio recorder and lost the audio. That's actually surprisingly knock on wood, the only time that we've ever lost any footage. So that's fortunate.
There was a time period, I think, last year where our whatever this thing's called, the thing that our mic and our sound gets plugged into.
Yeah, the audio recorder.
The audio recorder, it kept like overheating and cutting out bits of audio here and there. So that was happening for a period last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So we're like constantly trying to figure out like troubleshooting with our own technology equipment. Podcasting is hard.
And a lot of times too with the edits, sometimes they do get a little jump cutty.
Yeah.
But you know,
I like the jump cuts. I think they're funny.
They're funny sometimes, but I think we are also a little more at peace with just kind of letting it be. It's a little more natural.
Yeah. So I think initially we did like no cuts, and then we went from doing no cuts to doing like tons of cuts. So now we're trying to like find our middle ground and let some of the like the awkwardness and the errors be. So again, always evolving. Yay.
Ever evolving. Yes.
Okay. And now we've come to our new top 5 horror movie list.
Well, are they new, or like has yours changed significantly? Because I'm thinking about mine and I'm wondering if any of my top 5 have changed, but your top 5 horror movies.
They're always changing.
When we first started, and I think that's a good thing though.
I'll watch something and be like, oh my gosh, that's my favorite, or not my favorite, because my number 1 is always going to be my number 1. I don't think it'll ever change. But I'm like, oh, wait, maybe that's my number 2. Like a certain movie just had a 50th anniversary, so I rewatched it and I'm like, whoa.
Whoa, spoilers. Okay.
If you can guess, like, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but but yeah, like I was looking at my top 10 from when we started the podcast in 2021. And I was like, oh man, this has definitely changed.
Yeah. My thing with the top 10 is, there are 10 movies that I think might be my favorite, but there's also like 50 movies that might be my favorite.
I made a top 50 one day. In 2023, I made Aleece's top 50. And even that is just like...
What's your number 50?
Terrifier 2.
Terrifier 2 to made the top 50. That was a good movie.
Obviously, I had just seen it and thought it deserves to be on my list.
Okay, what's your number 25?
25. According to my 2023 list... Carrie,
that's a good choice too. Yeah. That could be on a lot of people's top 10s.
Yeah.
I feel like we should do an episode that's just you counting down your top 50. Like or we should just do like
a roulette horror roulette.
Horror roulette. It's like a showdown, but it's just you against your top 50. So you have to get rid of movies. No, wait, actually, no, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, it would
just be like the one that was higher is going to win.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I do like this game. You just like tell me like a random number.
And I try to guess it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
What's my number 16? But see, like even looking at my number 16,
what's your number 11? Because that one just barely didn't make your top 10. And that's got to be a tough call.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have several lists here. I have a list from 2020, a list from 2022, and a list from 2023. My number 11 in 2023 was Slumber Party Massacre. However, my number 11 in 2022 was Candyman. And then I flip-flopped back and later on in 2023, I put Candyman back at number 11.
Oh, okay.
So Candyman went from number 11 to number 13, back to number 11.
Probably because you watched it and you're like, wait, this is actually good. It's better like than, what's number 12?
I know, something in number 12 got to just stay in number 12, Scream.
So Candyman is better than Scream. Wow.
Sometimes it's better than Scream.
That's a hot take.
But sometimes it's worse than Scream. But it's like I had it flip-flopping around
Which movie have you seen more, Scream or Candyman?
Scream. So that's the reason why I think I was like, okay, well, no, I've seen Scream more often.
Is it Scream fatigue?
Maybe I was like, oh man, like actually if I had to look at the movies as like a piece of art, Candyman is more of like a piece of art. However, that's why we do like Desert Island episodes, because it's like, you know what? I have to go on that island for the rest of my life. I might pick Scream.
And people like movies for different reasons. Yeah. They're not all the best movies of all time for technical reasons or for like the Rotten Tomato scores. Sometimes you just like a movie because you just like a movie.
And sometimes it's one scene that you just want to see. Like you want to see Tony Todd with a mouthful of bees trying to make out with Virginia Madsen. And she's like, I love that scene so much. And I love that he's like, you know what? Fine. I'll have bees in my mouth. You got to pay me $1,000 for every steam.
We're also not talking about Aleece's random choices from her top 50. We're talking about your new updated top 5.
Fine.
So let's get the goods.
Get the goods. Okay. Back in the day of episode 1, my top 5 in backwards order. So from 5 to 1.
Yeah.
It was The Descent, number 5. The Thing,
choice.
number 4.
Great choice.
28 Days Later, number 3.
Excellent choice.
Shaun of the Dead, number 2.
Funny choice. I love that movie.
I do too. Halloween from 1978 as number 1.
Iconic choice.
Iconic choice. And I do have some changes here. So in backwards order, The Descent got bumped off.
Oh no. And we just saw The Descent within the last year. We saw it at a rooftop screening.
I did.
Still a good movie. Still
really
holds up.
good movie, but it got bumped. And 28 Days Later is now in the number 5 spot.
Wow.
Which means that also got bumped down.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I was going to say we just saw 28 Days Later as well.
We
preparing
did.
for 28 years later.
Yeah.
And that still holds up.
It does. So 28 Days Later was number 3. It got bumped down to number 5. The Thing was my number 4. The Thing is still my number 4. Because I think I was like, okay, 28 Days Later versus The Thing. I do love 28 Days Later. However, I couldn't justify putting John Carpenter's The Thing down a spot. So I would rather have put 28 Days Later down 2 spots. So I'm keeping The Thing as number 4.
Yeah.
Because I love that movie.
This is why I don't like top 10 lists.
I know.
They're
They're ever evolving. And honestly, this could change tomorrow. Who knows? My number 3 is now Shaun of the Dead. So that got bumped down 1 spot, which means that something that was not in my top 5 at all,
which you already disclosed,
got bumped all the way to number 2.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Obvious.
It's Jaws.
It's Jaws. Whatever.
Jaws is the scariest movie of all time, according to
Tony.
People who talk
Going to
about
the
that
pool.
movie, because it created a worldwide fear of sharks.
Okay. The reason why I bumped it all the way to my number 2 is because we were watching it the other night with my blue wine from Vaughn's that tastes like blue wine.
They slapped a Jaws sticker on
It's
it, and
so
Aleece
cute.
was like, I don't care, just take my money now.
I'm buying 6 bottles of this because I get a discount if I buy 6. And it gave me the worst hangover, but it was so cute. It's a lovely bottle. I won't drink anymore, but
So you say.
I'm not drinking that wine. It was terrible. I will keep them in their bottles and hand them out as gifts. You're welcome to whoever gets them. But Jaws, I was just like sitting there quoting under my breath the entire movie. And Tony turned to me. He's like, "You love this movie." And I was like, "Sorry, I do." I couldn't stop quoting it. I knew every line. And I think I love watching documentaries about it and featurettes about it. And I feel like that to me is a sign of a movie that I loved so much that I want to consume as much about it as I can. And I really appreciate that it was kind of like an indie film, like the way it was made.
It's not like he's an indie filmmaker paying for his film in Subway sandwiches. He was getting millions of dollars to make this film that ended up taking forever to film. Y'all know the story.
Yeah, but it felt like, I don't know, it felt like a bunch of stuff that like slapped together enough to be
It is a great
movie.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
The story of the film and how it came to be and how it almost wasn't supposed to be what it was, how great it was. But because of all of the problems they had on set and they couldn't show the shark, Bruce, and, you know, things
All
not
the
working,
problems became
actually helped
gold.
the film. Yeah.
Gold nuggets.
And that's
of
what we love
pure
about
kismet
film.
wonder and wonderful filmmaking. And yeah, I love Jaws.
Yeah,
Love
I
it.
think that Quentin Tarantino has called Jaws a perfect movie.
It is a perfect movie. It's
It is.
perfect.
It kind of is a perfect movie.
Yeah. And my number 1, Halloween 1978, that will always be to me like the most perfect horror movie. Like that felt like a little indie horror slasher.
Yeah.
And like a bunch of like young, kids getting together, making a movie and keeping it simple, and it worked.
I think indie was maybe had a different meaning back then. Where
Yeah.
there were all these sort of new, young, hungry, talented filmmakers who were making movies at a fraction of the price of other big budget movies that were maybe being made. I mean, it wasn't like a Roger Corman budget. It wasn't a
Herschel Gordon Lewis budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it wasn't a Cremains budget.
Okay, no one's gonna understand that reference.
Just cut that out.
Yes, there was a moderate budget for Jaws and Halloween, I'm sure.
But had that feel of independent cinema for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had that feel of like, what are we doing? We're doing stuff that hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
And it's very risky.
Yes.
And I think that's what's so admirable and exciting about watching these movies is because it's stuff that really hadn't been done on a big successful scale before. And it was done well.
These were like the movies where they proved that what they could do.
And I think that's what it's like. These are the movies, like the markers of like proving their talent in this world of filmmaking.
Yes.
And storytelling.
This is where they became legends.
And it's exciting to like rewatch these movies. And for me, for Halloween, okay, honestly, both of these movies have huge nostalgic factors and huge nostalgic value. Halloween, I watched with my cousins, and that was one of the more salient. We watched so many trashy movies, but this was like one of the better ones. And it was a huge, like salient horror movie that I had watched on my own with my cousins. But Jaws was like my family movie where my parents were like, you can watch this. And it was arguably probably scarier than Halloween. So
fantastic update to your list.
Thank you. I just wanted everyone to know I'm sorry to fans of The Descent. I still love that movie, but it got bumped off.
My top 5 was as follows from number 5 to number 1. At number 5, it was Evil Dead 2. At number 4, it was 28 Days Later. At number 3, it was The Lost Boys. Number 2, The Thing. Number 1, Dawn of the Dead. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that is hard for me about top 10 lists is that your top 50 is your top 10. There's so many good horror movies.
Yeah.
Like, how do you say that Candyman was better than Scream? How do you say that The Thing is better than 20 Days Later? Whatever it is, like these movies are all legendary for a lot of different reasons, or they hold like extreme nostalgic value, or it's something that introduced me to the horror genre, or something, you know, there's like some reason behind pretty much all of these films, and any of them could easily be my favorite. But I didn't know if mine was going to be updated, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking there is one movie that definitely was a movie that I hadn't really seen. It was a blind spot, and it was a huge blind spot for me that I've now seen and that I love just dearly.
I guess.
But it's not my number 5 yet, so I'm still figuring that out.
You're still figuring it out?
I'm
like,
figuring it out on the fly, yeah, on the fly.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
number 5?
So number 5. I know, it's full of misdirection here.
Yeah.
This is tough for me, but I think I'm going to bump Lost Boys down to 5. So Lost Boys is endlessly rewatchable for me. Anytime it's on, I will watch it. It holds extreme nostalgic value to me. We are going to see it at Cinespia for my birthday, which I'm not sure if this will air at that time. Anyways, so my number 4 was the movie that I was talking about. That was a huge blind spot.
I guess.
Yeah.
Exorcist?
Yes, that is correct. So it's The Exorcist. It's a movie that I had avoided for a long time because I thought that I was going to be too frightened by it. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those notorious movies. I had like a story about like nuns projectile vomiting in the Vatican.
Yeah.
You know, things that I heard as a kid. And I was like, I'm not going to watch this. I'm going to be too scared.
I just love the thought that a bunch of nuns are watching it in the Vatican slumber party night. Yeah.
And eventually I was like, wait, why am I not watching this movie? I need to watch this movie. I have a few of these not in the horror world, but just like in movies in general, whether movies that are so big. And I was almost like proud to have not seen them. Like for a really long time, I had not seen The Godfather. People would always be like, how could you have not seen The Godfather? And I was just like, I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And I never will. But then I did eventually watch it.
Never give you the
So The Exorcist was kind of like that. But I am just sad that I waited this long to watch that movie. Anyways, so then my number 3, I would have to go Halloween, because I think in the first episode I talked about how it was maybe like my number 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying in the episode that every time I watch it, I like it a little bit more. And that still holds true. It's like every time I watch it, it bumps up on my list a little bit more. So I don't know if it will ever get to my number 1 film, but I love that movie dearly as well. Number 2 is, I think it's still The Thing. I think that's just like one of the best horror movies ever made. And there are so many people that agree with that. It's on so many people's top 10 horror lists. For a reason. Aside from Halloween, it is John Carpenter's masterpiece.
But it's interesting that you have The Thing higher than Halloween.
Well, because the thing about The Thing is it's a lot more than just the story and the setting. It's the practical effects.
Yeah.
It's the sort of like science fiction element to it.
And that's actually why I kicked off The Descent, because to me, The Descent is basically The Thing. It's like, it's the relationships. Like you're watching The Thing for the relationship to see who trusts who and what they're going to do about it when they don't trust each other. And even though it's completely different creatures, it's the relationships that I feel like make both of these movies so similar.
It sounds like you want to rank it higher.
I love The Descent, but it's like if it's my desert island, that's how I had to rationalize this, is that like it's my desert island top 5.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
By Descent, The Thing gets to stay because it's John Carpenter.
Gotcha. Okay. And my number 1 is still Dawn of the Dead. I think that will always be my number 1. Just like Halloween will always be your number 1.
Exactly.
Dawn of the Dead is my favorite zombie movie in my favorite genre by my favorite director, George Romero. I could easily put Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead as 1, 2, 3. But if I had to just choose one, I would choose Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that like, you have your favorite subgenre by your favorite filmmaker, and I have my favorite subgenre by my favorite filmmaker.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense why that would be at the top.
Yep, it does.
Yeah. And
solid.
Then, so we did it. We updated our top 5 lists.
Phew, sweating.
We'll see in another 100 episodes if that changes. Maybe Skinner Marink will make it in my top 5.
Hey, never say no. I want to get to some fun questions from people. We reached out to a bunch of people, listeners and other podcasters and friends and family. And we got some really good questions.
Yes.
And in true gutted form, we're using our trusty purple jack-o'-lantern with all the questions in the mix. They're all mixed up. All right, here we go. We'll take turns asking each other.
All right.
All right, Tony, you're up first. This question is from Manic Movie Monday as well as Katie Afraidy.
Oh, 2 people asked the same question?
They asked the same question.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
What is the first movie that truly scared you?
Can I name 2?
Sure.
Since there's 2 people that asked, so I'll give 2.
They each get one, yeah.
So the first one was Child's Play. People who are my age and were young when Child's Play came out were absolutely terrified by Chucky.
Yeah.
These days, kids are best friends with Chucky. They do not fear Chucky. I don't get it.
Afraid of Chucky anymore.
I was afraid to go to the bathroom because of Chucky.
Yes, I was afraid to go in the horror section of a Blockbuster because I didn't want to see his face.
I had recurring nightmares of Chucky probably up until like 6th grade.
Yeah, same.
It was the first horror movie that I remember actually seeing and being scared of that was shown to me by older cousins. They thought it was funny to scare the living shit out of me.
And I think we discussed this in our first episode, but what is the other one?
The other one is It. So and it's particularly the scene in the shower. It made me afraid of going to the bathroom, just like Chucky. Maybe I was just afraid of going to the bathroom.
The bathroom is a terrifying place for a child. Yeah. That's why Candyman scared me so much.
Something about like something's going to come up out of the pipes and get you. It's
like, it's the tile. It's when you turn the lights off, it's often complete darkness. There are hardly any windows in bathrooms.
You're stuck in there.
You're stuck. It's so scary.
So It was the other movie I saw at a sleepover that my sisters were having with their friends, and it scared the shit out of me as well.
I know I didn't get this question, but I want to make an amendment to my first episode or second episode. I had said that my first horror movie that scared me or whatever, or made me excited about the genre was Leprechaun.
Who is afraid of Leprechaun?
I wasn't afraid of Leprechaun, but I would say that at the time, Leprechaun was very impactful for me. It was the first time I was very excited about horror, to the point where I wanted to like play out scenarios from that movie with my cousins. And I was gonna like, I'm Tori and you're Leprechaun and you're gonna come chase me. Anyway, that was the first horror movie that I reenacted with cousins.
Okay, so that has nothing to do with fear.
It's not. So I want to like make a little amendment here.
Okay.
The first and like the longer.
So for those of you who listened to episode 1 and were pissed out of her answer, what is your actual answer here?
Okay. The longer we've done this podcast, I'm like, wait a minute. All these memories are resurfacing now.
Okay.
From when I was younger, having watched horror movies with my family. And I don't think they remember. But I think the very first horror movie that I saw.
That scared you.
I was probably scared.
Probably scared.
I was probably scared.
What's your first horror movie that has scared you?
I want to say my first horror movie memory, because they all scared me.
Okay.
That's why it was so exciting. I think my very first horror movie memory is when Jaws 4 came out.
Jaws 4? Is that Jaws 4 The Revenge?
Yes. Jaws 4 The Revenge. Michael Caine, Mario Van Peebles, all-star cast. Anyway, I swear my parents took me and my brother to see this when it came out in theaters. And yes,
because it's a family movie.
I was only 2 3/4, but I remember it.
Okay.
I remember the opening scene, and I won't spoil it in case you guys haven't seen it yet.
Jaws bites someone. Spoiled.
The opening scene, the first person that dies by Jaws, he's wearing this yellow slicker and he sees this like kind of whitish glow of a fish or something down below in the water. And I remember this so clearly. And it's Jaws. And Jaws jumps up and bites his arm off. And that terrified me that he had no arm. And this yellow slicker sleeve just dangling and he's screaming. And I remember this image so vividly. Certain parts of the movie I didn't get. I remember like leaning over to my parents and like asking them like, well, what's that about? Like,
that's what you sounded like as a 2.5-year-old?
I was like, what's that? What's up?
Mommy, what is Jaws?
I don't know. It's probably like, Mom, what that? I don't know. Who knows?
Mom, who Jaws?
Who
Jaws?
I remember like the art that Michael's wife made. I thought that was the bones of the person that died in the beginning. So that was my 2.5-year-old mind, like warping things to be scarier than it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jaws 4 is my answer.
Great. That will change the next time we do one of these.
It will not. Well, maybe.
Because you said in another episode that you remember watching Nightmare on Elm Street 3 or 2 or whatever through your dad's shirt.
Yes, because I was like 3 years old at that time. But Jaws 4, I think I was even younger.
Next time in the next 100 episodes, you're going to have a memory from when you were
18 months
old. When you were in the womb, when your mom went to see...
Okay, see now, I know you're not believing me, but these memories are surfing back. This is kind of like therapy, you know? It's like they just kind of come back to you when they happen. You can't force it.
Yeah.
But then you're like, whoa, I remember seeing Jaws 4 in the theater. I was 2 3/4.
2 3/4.
Just wanted to set the record on that.
Your question is from the Cradle to the Grave podcast.
Oh, man.
If you could time travel, what horror movie would you want to see on opening night?
Oh, man. I knew this one was coming. I was nervous for it.
But why? You have literally the choice of any horror movie.
Because it's like, I have the choice of like one horror movie. It's such a good question from Eric. And I read it and I was like, oh, man, that's a good one.
I know what mine is.
Okay. I originally thought, you know what? I want to see Halloween 1978 in theaters with like that audience. But then I thought, wait, no, maybe I want to see Exorcist in theaters and see people like screaming or like fainting.
Losing their shit.
Their shit. That would be exciting.
That's mine.
That's yours?
Yeah.
Okay. But then I thought, oh, could you imagine being in that audience to see Psycho and Janet Leigh gets killed? But then I thought, could you imagine being in 1922 Germany and seeing Nosferatu in theaters?
Wow.
That would be weird. And so it's like, okay, am I from this era or I'm just time traveling?
It sounds like you're Bill and Ted and you're just like hopping around and you're just jumping to different horror movie screenings.
If I could go back in time and actually be from that time period with like all the mindset that I have from that I would have from that time period, then those ones. But also Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how terrifying that would be? All right, it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think
That's
mine
what
is
you're
The
saying.
Exorcist.
Okay.
Yeah.
At first I was thinking The Exorcist, but then I was thinking, you know what? I think the one that would actually truly terrify me would be Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Because I'm a slasher person. And even though I love Halloween, I think TCM would actually scare me more.
Yeah. I just want to see nuns projectile vomiting in the Vatican. So
You're
that's
gonna
where I'm
go
going.
to the Vatican.
Yep. That's
Okay.
where I'm going.
Good
All
choice.
right. Thanks, Eric. That was a great question.
That was great. Oh, too many choices, though. From Manic Movie Monday. What is the process of your show prep from pre to post?
Okay, the process. We have a shared Google Doc that Aleece fills out. She will prep the outline and some of the notable factoids. So I'll set up the lights and the camera and the microphones, all of that sort of stuff. We have to like move these chairs because they don't normally live right here in front of this area.
No.
We used to watch the movie 2 or 3 times, but that seemed to be a bit much. We'll try to watch some bonus features if we own like the physical media, but not to go too deep because it's really easy to like get into like a research hole.
We went very deep for our episode on The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And I think that was exhausting.
Yeah, because then it ends up taking several days of prep or sometimes like a week of prep. And if you are trying to get episodes out in a timely manner, you don't always have that much time. Now we do some light research.
Yeah.
Well,
Also for the Spill Your Gut episodes, we used to do very long breakdowns for the whole
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, it was getting a little long-winded, but it was also very detailed. Like you could just listen to that portion and you basically watch the whole movie.
Yeah, it's like a radio show. Yeah. Mhm.
But I did like doing those. Maybe just not for the episode. It was kind of fun.
Well, after that, I would say I do most of the main edits, and then you do all the more nuanced edits.
Yeah.
And you add all the clips, you add the posters for the video episodes.
Yeah. So I'll make the thumbnails for the YouTube videos and for the Instagram promotion. It's a lot of work.
It is a
And
lot
for
of
those
work.
who are also podcasters, like it's a lot of work to have to do this. So you truly have to love doing it.
Yeah, we wanted to release all of our episodes every Wednesday, and then it became like, okay, now Thursday. And
then it's just like, just
whenever
get them out
you
whenever
can.
you can get
Yeah, I
it
think
out.
the last one we released was on a Friday afternoon. We're like, whatever, just get it out.
Yeah. And our lives aren't the most regular. I am a gig worker. So like sometimes I'll have a lot of time and sometimes I won't have any time. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like balancing day jobs and all of that sort of stuff. But thank you for that question.
Yeah, thanks,
from
Aaron.
Manic Movie Monday. Okay, Aleece, your question is from Shelly Belly 4387. And this question says, do you have any corrections you'd like to make to the podcast?
If we could go back and redo our episode on the bench, we would redo that and just do an episode on the whole movie, not just the trailer.
And maybe do some ADR for the Child's Play episode.
I know. Fix that one. Oh, well.
So sad. I'm sure there's a lot of factual things that we have gotten wrong over the episodes, but hey.
We try to re-listen to the episodes that we release after we release them. And we do notice little errors here and there. We're like, oh no. And we have to kind of like weigh, is it big enough of a mistake to redo it or try to fix it or just let it be?
Yeah.
And most of the times we'll just let it be.
Well, one time we shot an entire episode because you misnamed Owen Fuere in a trailer review. And then we watched the movie and you're like, that wasn't Owen Fuere.
That was for The Strangers. Yeah, the remake of The Strangers. And because in the trailer, yeah, I named her.
It happens.
But I ended up really enjoying your episode on The Strangers Postka. I thought that was fun.
Yeah. Even though the movie was not,
It was
a
okay.
fun episode.
It was a fun episode. From Shelly Billy. Are there any horror movies too scary or creepy to enjoy?
Ooh, I really do not think that there are any movies that are too creepy to enjoy for me. There are a number of movies that are too depressing to watch more than once.
Huh.
Like one that we just recently watched that was called Snowtown Murders.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I wouldn't think that would be enjoyable to watch over and over again. There are a lot of movies that I've seen maybe in my college days that I would not revisit unless someone was like, hey, I want to watch this.
Yeah, I will say there are a few that I watched in college and I'm like, I don't want to watch that one again. Like Irreversible, I appreciate what it did, but I don't want to see a certain scene ever again. And there are some extreme movies, like Horror Extremity, that I would probably just not watch unless someone's like, I really want to see this. Like you've mentioned before, like Guinea Pig.
It's just not a good movie.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the few snippets I've heard about it, I'm like, I don't want to see that.
There is an area of horror where it's like you might be watching it just out of a morbid curiosity or just to see like what you can handle. There's like a weird line and it's kind of like hard to say what that is.
And
sometimes.
I think filmmakers are constantly trying to blur that line and push that line.
So your next question, Aleece, this is from Tatiana.
Ooh.
And Tatiana says, first of all, I love your top 10 lists and Desert Island movie episodes. Thank you very much. They're so fun because we're in the middle of summer. What are some of your favorite tropical themed horror films? I feel like this is a rare setting for a horror film, and Tatiana's favorite tropical themed horror film is Jack Frost 2.
That's a cute one.
And she would like to thank her partner for introducing her to it.
I haven't seen Jack Frost 2 in so long, but I remember it being so cute. Aren't there like evil snowballs chomping on people?
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
What?
No.
Oh man. All right, Tati. We're going to watch it. Thank you. I enjoyed Jack Frost 2. I think my favorite tropical horror movie is probably I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
I still know.
Yeah. You've got Brandy and
Jack
Black. You have Ben Willis comes back, or as you like to call him, Ben Wallace. Jennifer Love Hewitt. I think that is such a good slasher. And I think a lot of people feel perhaps that one is superior to the first one, I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I can totally see that. And I love that spoiler for the ending of I Still Know, but Brandy gets to live. It's like the best friend gets to live. The best friend hardly ever gets to live in these slashers. Happens. And especially a best friend of color. Like she gets to live in the 90s. Who'd have thunk it? I think it's a great movie. It's a fun, tropical horror movie.
Mine might be a horror comedy. I'm thinking Club Dread.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, which we talked about on Manic Movie Monday.
Yeah.
That's such a fun and funny movie. And I love...
So many good quotable lines.
Love Broken Lizard.
Good choice.
Yeah.
All right. Another question from Shelly Belly. Ooh, if you were a matchmaker, what horror movie characters would you match up with at least one villain in that couple?
Like the villain and the couple from the same movie?
No, it can just be like a villain and anyone else.
That's a good question. I feel like Leatherface is a character that needs someone to take care of him. Like and a lot of the source of his relentless mayhem is because he doesn't have anyone to tell him not to do it. Mm-hmm. So he needs someone, I think, that's caring and very affectionate and very like...
I think I know what you're going to say.
Who?
Pamela Voorhees?
No, I was going to say Annie Wilkes from Misery.
Oh, that's a good one. He gets his chainsaw. She has her mallet.
Those two would make a nice couple.
And I feel like, Annie Wilkes would love a partner. Leatherface needs someone to like keep him grounded.
If all else fails, she'll just strap him to a bed and break his feet.
Break his foot. Yeah. So he can't run after anyone with his chainsaw all manically.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
How about
yours? That's a good pairing. I like Annie Wilkes and Leatherface because they both seem like...
They're just like misunderstood.
They're misunderstood. Yeah. And I think they would really thrive with a partner.
She could talk some sense into him and bring him down a notch.
Well, kind of like in TCM 2. Like he kind of seemed like he was ready for a partner. He just didn't know how to do it. He was doing it all the wrong way and being kind of creepy about it. I like that pairing. That's good. I'm just going to say that one. I like it.
Okay, great. Thank you for the question, Shelly Belly. Okay, the next question is going to come from Shelly Belly.
Ooh.
Lots of questions. Thanks for all the questions.
Thank you for coming out, Shelly Belly.
If you could design some props or sets in a horror movie, what would you create?
Oh, that's a good one for you, though. I'm going to turn the table and say what props and
No,
stuff.
you have to answer it.
I have to answer? Dang it. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari?
Didn't that have some cool sets?
Yeah, some gothic horror.
Yeah.
Some spiraling staircase and old castles and mansions.
Some gothic horror sets feel like something my speed.
Yeah, you can paint a long shadow.
I could paint a really long shadow. I love painting long, angular, clean line shadows. I think I would really love that. If I had to make something very ornate, like in Beetlejuice, I think I'd be very stressed out with all these different color schemes.
I would want to do something like really messy and squishy, something like in
Like
Society,
street
trash, like the shunting kind of thing.
That also would be fun because you can't mess up because it's all a mess.
You just go crazy.
Yes. So either gothic horror or like extreme 80s body horror.
Yeah.
That's good too.
Thank you to everyone who
Thank
sent us
you
questions.
so much.
This is another question from Manic Movie Monday. What movie have you been dying to do on the show?
A movie that I've been thinking of doing a lot, but I'm too nervous is Jaws. I almost love it too much. And It's the 50th anniversary. I have the popcorn bucket. I got a little sippy cup and I'm ready, but also I feel like I'm not ready. I want to do an episode on Jaws, but I also just feel like, why? What's the point? Everyone else has already done it.
People want to know why you like Jaws and sharing stories like your Jaws 4 story. That's the thing that the people want to hear.
would love to tell people that Jaws 4 is not that bad.
So maybe it's Jaws 4.
Jaws 4. I'm partial to it because I saw it when I was 2 3/4.
Yeah, I think the movie that I would love to cover on the show would be a post-gut for Nightmare Beach.
Oh, I know.
Zombie 3 and Wolfen. So those would be the 3 that I would like to cover in a post-gut.
Yeah, because actually Nightmare Beach was recommended by Look Good for the Boys and Wolfen was recommended by Eric from Cradle to the Grave.
And Zombie 3 was recommended by me.
By Tony.
And we own all 3 of these movies.
We own all 3, so we really could do postcuts on all 3 of them. But then I thought, what if we did guess the endings on them? I don't know.
I think it should just be postcuts.
All right, fine. Okay, next question. Oh, this one's from Horror of Sweden. What is a director that you went from disliking to liking, and what made you have that change?
Thank you for that question. That's a great question. The director that I absolutely hated before I started this podcast was Rob Zombie.
I knew it.
And we actually talked a bit about in certain episodes how we've kind of come around a little bit to Rob Zombie films, maybe revisiting them. Maybe he was
ahead of his time
in a way, or maybe I'm just able to tolerate his style of movie a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because the thing that I disliked about Rob Zombie movies when they came out is that they were almost too full of themselves in a way where it's he's casting the same group of characters. He's always casting Sherry Moon as wife. I mean, that makes sense.
That makes sense. And if you like those actors, that's I feel a huge incentive to hiring actors is they work well together and that you're going to have a fun time with them. Yeah.
So but it seemed like a little too much for me. Also, all of his movies are just sort of like a hillbilly vibe, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the reason why I changed my mind a little bit, because I wouldn't say that I'm in love with Rob Zombie, but I would say that I like Rob Zombie films a lot more than I did, is because I realized that he is such a fan of the genre, and you can really see it in his films, and you can see that he loves the horror genre. So I think that it has made me come around on him as a director.
I would not go so far as to say that I hated Rob Zombie.
I hated Rob Zombie films.
Geez,
I hated them.
So passionate about that. Okay. I never hated Rob Zombie, but I will say that I didn't like Rob Zombie movies when they first came out. And I think it's because one of the first ones I had seen was his remake of Halloween. I was like, no, you can't remake Halloween, because that had always
He messed up your favorite movie.
That was my favorite movie. And so I was just kind of I felt insulted that he tried to remake it. But now, since time has passed and we've had since some reboots that maybe I like less. I have started to really appreciate Rob Zombie's iterations of Halloween and his lens of it and how he comes from it from a definite fan viewpoint. Like you can tell that he also loved Halloween and just wanted more backstory from Michael.
Yeah.
And you can't fault him for that. I love Halloween too. I love how weird it is and mystical. So, and I also recently got to see 31, his movie that takes place on Halloween, but it's not in the Halloween universe. And it's really good.
I won't say anything about his Monsters remake because I haven't seen it, but I don't have very high hopes for it, nor do I have any interest in watching it.
Anyway, so yeah, Rob Zombie also, I think he was just a little bit ahead of his time.
I can't believe it. We're saying that about Rob Zombie.
I can.
Anyways, great question. Thank you so much, Horror Sweden, for that question. Another one from Shelly Belly. Another question. Thank you for all the questions. If you are cast in a remake of a horror movie, what character would you be? And how would you make that character different?
Okay, this is such a simple, stupid answer, but I want to be Michael Myers.
And how would you make it different?
Just by not being a dude, because I feel like there are hardly any silent stalker females that have a franchise.
Yeah.
They're all a bunch of lumbering dudes and they get so many movies. And if there is a psycho female, it's a one-off. Like Misery, one-off. Jennifer's Body, one-off.
Yeah.
Although there are whispers that there might have a sequel of that one. But again, it's not going to be like a franchise. It's going to be like a reboot again, I feel like. So my answer is I just want to be Michael Myers and just not be a dude. I want to be just as scary and just as silent stalkery.
It's a great answer. All right, I like that.
Thank you.
All right.
What would yours be?
I'll be the little girl in Poltergeist, and I'll play it different because I'm going to do it in like a slapstick manner.
Ew, that's insulting.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get canceled.
I'm going to be like, the ghosts are coming to get me.
The ghouls.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
All right. Thank you so much for that question, Shelly Belly.
Yeah, I like that question. Ooh, another one from Shelly Belly. Okay. If you were going to, this is so good. If you were going to host a dinner and a movie at your house, which horror movie character would you invite? What movie would you watch? And what signature cocktail would you serve?
Ooh, okay. That's like a 3-parter.
All right. So here's what we'll do. You pick the character. I'll pick the movie.
Okay.
You pick the cocktail.
Okay. We are going to invite Reagan to our cocktail party.
Oh my gosh. Wait, possessed Reagan?
Yeah, Pazuzu
Reagan.
possessing Reagan to our cocktail party.
Oh man.
Because Pazuzu has like a lot of pizzazz? Like a lot of
Pazuzu's very pizzazzy.
Very social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does want to just hang out and make some jokes. I feel like Pazuzu would really enjoy a comedy. Does it have to be a horror movie? No. What about like Scary Movie 2 where they're parodying? James Woods is parodying Max von Sydow.
Yeah, but not if you give Pazuzu some cocktails.
What are you going to serve her?
Maybe something that's like good for an upset stomach. Because
Wait, I got it. I think Pazuzu would love to watch Candyman. Because Tony Todd also has an amazing voice, as does Mercedes McCambridge.
Yeah.
So I feel like Pazuzu would really appreciate like the vocals of Tony Todd's performance.
Yeah.
Okay, Candyman. We're watching
And
Candyman.
I'm thinking for the cocktail, it's probably going to be something that would like soothe the stomach because Reagan possessed
Don't want her puking up all the pea soup that I made for dinner.
Yeah, possessed with Pazuzu has an upset stomach and puking everywhere. So I'm thinking like a hot toddy.
Ooh, a hot toddy.
And it was cold in that room.
It was very cold. So yeah, I mean, I probably will turn up the heater a little bit, but
yeah,
if we're in Pazuzu's bedroom, then
the heat might drop. So I think we're going to go with hot toddies.
Hot toddies watching Candyman with Pazuzu.
Yeah.
Nice.
And, you know, honey and bees. So you'd like those together.
Oh my gosh. Maybe Candyman shows up later. So Candyman and Pazuzu come, and then maybe they become a match.
Well,
I just found my perfect match.
Pazuzu is possessing a little girl, so that might not be cool.
I'm not going to say that Pazuzu in Reagan's body. Maybe just Pazuzu leaves the body and goes and dates Candyman.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, not Pazuzu in Reagan's body, but Pazuzu in Father Karras's body.
Okay, got that.
and Candyman date.
I like that. Okay.
All right. So that's my answer from
Love
the
it.
previous matchmaking question too.
Okay, thank you so much. That was a fun question.
That was fun. All right. 2 more.
The next question is from Katie Afraidy, and she asks, what horror movie villain do you think you could actually defeat?
Oh my God. Probably like none of them. Okay.
I mean, there have been plenty of horror villains that were not very
I'm going to go with a creature feature.
Okay.
Because I feel like anything that's mystical or involves demons, no, I'm done. If it's a zombie, especially a fast one, I'm still done. If it's any known stalker or slasher, I'm definitely done. So I'm going to say the one I could probably most likely defeat is Cujo.
Cujo.
Just hang out in a car and wait for Cujo.
It's really hot in that car, though. You don't do well with the heat.
I don't do well with the heat. Dee Wallace handled it like a champ.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. What's a really cold movie?
30 Days of Night.
I would definitely die. Those vampires were
The Thing.
scary things. See, I don't think I would do well with like the psychology of it. Although I am a bit of an introvert, so I wouldn't mind being that guy that just like holes up in my own shed and just waiting till it all blows over. But the thing is also very patient, so I think it would get me in the end. So I'm going to go with maybe one of the compies from Jurassic Park 2.
That's not the villain, though. It'd probably be like T-Rex.
The compies are a villain to the guy that he killed. Gremlins 2, the new batch. The vegetable.
That's even a tough one because...
The vegetable gremlin.
The vegetable gremlin.
Yeah. I could
How would you defeat it?
By eating it. I love vegetables. Yeah, I could probably defeat 1 or 2 of the gremlins from Gremlins 2, the new batch.
I feel like I could defeat... Man, that's
A
really
tremor.
tough. A tremor?
Yeah, you just have to jump on rocks.
I don't think I could defeat a tremor.
Yeah, you could probably run away from a tremor.
I don't have enough firepower to blast those tremors.
That's true.
I
We're
don't have
not
any
Reba.
dynamite, yeah.
Who are we?
Yeah, I don't have
Who are
any
we
of that.
kidding?
I was thinking like a small doll.
Like Megan?
Megan, well, not
The
Megan
thing is,
2.0.
you can't
no.
defeat Megan 2.0. She's everywhere
No, you
and
can't
she's
defeat.
always watching.
I would not be able to defeat Megan.
Yeah, I initially thought Megan was like, not going to defeat Megan. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, maybe Annabelle.
She's a possessed doll.
And I think she just recently like killed someone
Yeah.
in real life.
So no, I can't defeat anything that's possessed. I'm
Damn.
done for. That's why I was thinking Cujo, because like eventually Cujo is going to get tired and go to sleep.
I'm going to go with Chucky because Chucky is small.
All right. I'll go with Vegetable Gremlin and Tony's going to go with Chucky.
Yeah. And this is what I'm going to do to defeat Chucky. I am going to just kick him away.
Kick him into the fireplace.
He's going to come at me with a knife. He's going to try to slice me right in the bottom of my
He will
heel.
definitely get your Achilles.
Yeah. He's going to try to
And-
surprise attack, but I'll be ready.
Will you? Your Achilles are already weak.
I'm just going to hole up in one room. So that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Hole up in one room. And when Chucky comes through, I know that he can bleed and feel pain. And he's going to have to like transfer his soul to something else.
Mhm.
He'll come back, but then I'll just kick him again.
Yeah. I'm still going to say Cujo because I feel like even though I don't handle the heat very well, I am very determined and I am ready to die of heat exhaustion rather than get eaten by a rabid dog. So I feel like I could outlast a rabid dog in a hot car.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Cujo and Chucky.
Chucky. Yeah.
Done.
The last question.
The last question.
This is from Shelly Belly again. Who are your top 3 horror movie characters who you'd like to see naked and why?
Oh my gosh. This is great. Thank you, Shelly Belly. Also, Shelly Belly is an avid listener and watcher. She's been watching since the beginning.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Aunt Shelly. So, top 3 horror characters or
Yeah.
villains?
I think we should go with villains because there are a lot of horror characters who already get naked in films.
That's true. Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah.
So, top 3 horror villains that I want to see naked. Tony Todd.
Tony Todd. Okay.
I mean, okay, Candyman. Sorry. Candyman. No, who's yours? Let's go back and forth.
Leprechaun.
I was thinking Jennifer from Jennifer's Body. Actually, seeing Michael Myers naked would be kind of fun with just his mask on. So Candyman, Michael Myers, Leprechaun, Jennifer. That's 4. All right. That was it. Those were all of our questions. Thank you, everybody who submitted those questions. Those were fun. Also, thank you for everyone who's been involved in our journey to 100 episodes.
Yes.
Freddie, our junior podcaster, is
Freddie
here.
is here. Yeah. Freddie, you came right at the end. Okay. Just in time for some quick shout outs that we want to make.
Oh yeah, just some quick shout outs to some of our commenters on social media and YouTube. We so appreciate all of the comments. A Home for Horror, come on community, let's give these guys a boost. Great channel, check them out, and lots of fist bumps, and that was really nice. Erin at Manic Movie Monday, she always comments on our social media pictures and always makes us feel good and gives us really nice compliments. Thank you, Erin. On YouTube, Average DE, he noticed that all of our timestamps were way off. And so he actually went through and fixed all of our timestamps for us, which was really kind. Thank you so much.
Also, great handle.
He also said that we were criminally unsubscribed, and that made me feel really happy. Thank you. AV Julian 9917 said that he was elated to find our channel. Thank you so much. Also, thank you so much for all the repeat comments from people on YouTube, such as Damien Starks 3338, Lord of the Serpents, and Ninja Turtle Nursing Home. Love that handle. It's so cute.
Quick shout out to some people who we've met in the horror community that are just great people. If you're out at a horror event and you see them, you should definitely support them or find them on Instagram or find them on social media. First, I want to mention Sammy Ruiz and Mandy Seal. They are two spooky vendors who we've come across just going to horror conventions.
And they're another horror couple, and they're so cute. And yeah, we love seeing their updates on social media.
Then we have Get to Steeping. They are a spooky loose leaf tea company. We have also run into them at several conventions, and we love buying their tea. They're always one of the first booths that we try to stop by if we see that their name is on a list.
Yeah.
We love their tea and we love seeing them. They're very nice people. Then we have Kanani at Morbid Visions, which is a horror shop that we have stumbled upon fairly recently.
Yeah, in Covina, California.
In Covina, California. Morbid Visions also is at different horror conventions from time to time. So check him out as well. Really cool. Showed us around the shop. And then April of Spooky Baby Clothing and Spooky Baby Events, who we recently met and has invited us to be a part of an upcoming Spooky Baby event. So It's called the Las Vegas Slasher Market, and it's going to happen on August 30th, and we'll be there with the little booth. So if you're in the Las Vegas area, come check it out. We'll be there, and we might have some merch. You could just come by and chat with us. So that brings us to the end of the episode, and we just appreciate all of you. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for just giving something a thumbs up or subscribing or rating or anything. Thank you for anything, any shape, way, or form that you have contributed to us being.
So a lot of great things coming up with Gutted. We have a lot of plans. Hopefully you all can come along with us for another 100 episodes.
And someone just reached out and asked us to do an episode on Carnosaur or Carnosaur 2, and we're going to do it because we hardly ever get anyone reaching out, requesting things. So reach out, request something. We might do it.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Gutted. If you like what you've heard, please give us a like, subscribe, give us a rating, all of that stuff. Follow us on social media. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok now. Reach out to us, guttedhorrorpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. Thank you so much again for watching and or listening. It's been another episode of
Gutted.